Okay, 10.7, special segments and circles. You're going to have three different formulas here, or equations to set up based on the picture itself. So I'm going to write the equations as we do each problem. So the first one here is involving a secant and tangent. Okay, secant and tangent. So I'm going to write that up here. So we have secant, and tangent. All right, now what do we do with the secant? In terms of a secant, we do exterior part times whole. Exterior part times whole. Okay, what about a tangent? Tangent, you do, I just call it tangent squared. Tangent squared. Okay, now, what in the world does all that mean? Okay, let's go to the secant first. Here's our secant. Now, all secant is, again, it comes from an exterior point of the circle and goes all the way into and through the circle. Okay, the exterior part, this right here, is the 12. Okay, what about the whole? The whole is the whole thing. Now, how do you get the whole thing? You have to add those. 12 plus x would give you that whole segment. You add the two together. So, in terms of this equation, it's exterior part times whole. That has to equal, now I deal with the tangent. Okay, the tangent is right here, which is 18, and all I do is square that. So this becomes my equation. So for secant, it's exterior part times whole. For tangent, it's squared. So now I have to work this equation out, and there's going to be a lot of algebra in this today. So you do distributive property. So I get 144 plus 12x equals, so do 18 squared is 324. Subtract 144 from both sides. So I get 12x equals 180. Then I'm going to divide by 12. So x is, let's see, 15. Okay, so that's problem one. All right, let's go to problem number 2. What do we have here? Here we have two secants. Okay, so we have this secant, and then we have this secant. Okay, now again, remember, secant is exterior part times whole. Here's the exterior part. What's the whole? Well, 10 plus 8 is 18. So it's going to be 10 times 18 equals, now I'll do the other secant. What's the exterior part? 9. What's the whole? 9 plus x. It's not very good, 9. There we go. So 9 exterior part times whole. 9 plus x. Make sure you put that whole in parentheses when it has a variable in it. Okay, so now we just work that out. So 180 equals, do my distributive property, 81 plus 9x, subtract 81, that's 99, it's 9x, divide by 9, and I get 11 is x. Okay. What about number 3? Okay, number 3 is different. Here we have chords, okay? So for a chord is part times part. Part times part. Okay. So what are my parts? My parts are 14 and x. My other parts of the other chord are 12 and 7. So you got to divide them up into the two chords. So you've got the red chord here and then the blue chord. Okay. So part times part equals part times part. and then you just work the equation out. So 14x is, it's going to be 84 divided by 14, and we get x is 6. Okay, what's number 4? Number 4 is a secant and a tangent, much like number 1. Okay, here's our tangent. What do we do with it? We square it. Excuse me. And our secant, what is it? Exterior part, circle it a little bit better, exterior part times whole. Okay, what's the whole? 27 plus x. So exterior part times, and again, put the whole in parentheses when you have a variable. So I do 45 squared, 2025. Do distributive is 729 plus 27x. Subtract 729. So we get 1296 equals 27x divided by 27. You get 48. Okay. So let's keep going. What do we have in number 5? Number 5, we have two chords. So what is chords? Part times part. So x times 9 equals part times part. 10 times 18. So we get 9x equals 180. If you divide by 9, that's going to give you 20. Excuse me. All right. What about number 6? The only difference is here we're trying to find the measure of a segment. So we still set up everything the same way. What do we have here? We have two secants. So it's exterior part times whole. 7 plus 9 would be 16. Exterior part times whole, which would be 8 plus 4x minus 2. Now, I'm going to simplify that. I'm going to do 8 minus 2 is 6, so it's going to be 6 plus 4x. Now I set up my equation. So exterior part times whole equals exterior part times whole. So 16 times 7 is 112. Do my distributive here. So that's going to give me 48 plus 32x, subtract 48. So 64 equals 32x. I'm going to divide by 32. Man, pen's not writing very well. So I get 2 equals x. Now, what I have to do is go back and plug it in. What is GF? Well, GF is right here, which is the 4x minus 2. So I'll plug that 2 into the x there. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 2 is 6. And that's what GF is equal to. So the only difference is here having to plug in. Okay. Number 7, here are two chords. So what do? We do part times part equals part times part. So 8 times 9 equals 6 times x plus 3. 72 equals 6x plus 18. Remember, do distributive. Subtract 18. That's going to give us 54 equals 6x. If you divide by 6, you get 9. Then I'm going to take that and plug it into, now, it says find BD, so be very careful here. First thing I'm going to do is plug it in here. If I do that, that's going to give me 12. So BD is that whole segment. So I'm going to take 12 and add it to the 6, so that gives me 18. So BD is 18. So, not too bad, a little lengthy, things you want to remember. I'm going to write it over here again, so just that you have it. Remember, for a secant, okay, remember what a secant is. A secant comes from the outside. Secant is exterior part times the whole. Tangent is tangent squared. And then chord is part times part. So make sure you remember those.